as I said over the weekend, I hope to have her on the show yesterday. We had the Tāmaki Makaurau by-election, and just prior, if you remember, to Saturday, we went and interviewed, one of the leading lights of Maori politics, if you like, in terms of being an observer. She stood in actual fact for the new Labour Party. I didn't realise that. Gosh, the good old days of 1990 general election. She was the head of Maori education at Unitec, the University Institute of Technology, before she moved to the Auckland University of Technology, where she was the director of Maori advancement. She was promoted to being a full professor in 2022. She's done a bit of acting, as she explained to us the last time she talked. And she's been a human rights commissioner as well. But she is one of the leading observers of the Maori world, and particularly Maori politics. And she was feeling unwell yesterday, but she's well today, I'm delighted to say, and she's going to join us with that. Now, can I just ask Ella, where are you? There you go. Lovely to have you on the show again. Are you feeling better today? Where is she, Josh? Crazy Frog, says Jim. Yeah, that was the one. That was the one, Crazy Frog. Yeah, Thunderdonk. Anyhow, Ella will be joining us when we get up at the moment. I do like this one, though. I used to think you're a tosser, Michael, but I have to apologise now for that opinion. Since listening to you on the platform, I've come to respect your opinion very much. Well, isn't that very kind of you? So I assume we can't get Ella on mobile, so we're going to be talking to her on phone. Yeah, okay, all right, okay. And I wonder if those people are still buying storage units. And Tony says, why do you assume dismemberment in the Korea murders case? I think I read something that the packages were in the things in 3 or 4 different. That's why I assumed it, because otherwise there would have been in 2. That's why I assumed dismemberment, Tony, can I just say. And James says, Michael, I'm still waiting to find out who the wealthy person is that's in jail for child pornography. I didn't know there was a person in jail for child pornography. Now I've got to work out what the secret is with Tom Phillips, says James. Yes. And I see on stuff that the police commissioner apparently is confused as to why the bike had shoe boxes on it. I mean, a man on the run with kids stealing boots from, Pine Gill, what it was, the place that he's stolen from. Please tell me. He's joking. He can't work that one out. Listen. And I just got this one here too. Most people know. So a whole series of people have said we know exactly what the injunction is seeking to hold, and that's exactly the point that I'm just trying to make to you. Yeah. No question. All right. Now, Ella is on the phone, and I said she was unwell yesterday, but she's, I hope, better today, and she joins us now. Ella Henry, welcome to the show, Ella. You're feeling better today?
Kia ora, yes, and I have to thank your producer, Hugh, who introduced me to olive leaf. It's a game changer. It got me back to having a voice again. Some people might not be happy about that, but that's the way it goes.
What is it, Ella? Olive leaf?
Olive leaf, yeah. It's an immune thingy. So I sent my daughter out to get some, and I've been gobbling it down for 3 days, and it's brought me back from the brink of unpleasant flu.
You don't think that you think that's causative rather than collative, do you? Because you could be onto something here.
It's a contributing factor, I guess, along with the turmeric and the lemon and the prayers and the chants and all the other things you do as well.
And just getting over it too. Yeah, no, good on you. Listen, on Friday we talked about the by-election, and you sort of rung off with the basis of this is going to be really close. I think you were leaning towards Pene Henare as being sort of, the sort of more responsible, enlightened individual. And we now know on Saturday night what happened. And it was a bath for Pene Henare and also for the Labour Party. The turnout was appalling. We talked about that on Friday. We wondered how bad it would be. It was bad. Your first reaction to Saturday night when those results came in?
Well, I actually remember saying that I thought she was ahead by a nose because,
yes, you did.
My view was that she would get the woman vote, she would get the rangatahi youth vote that supports Pāti Māori, and also the sympathy vote. I was surprised, but not unpleasantly, to see that those who did turn out, the 28% who did turn out, I think were as much speaking to the Labour Party as they were to Pāti Māori. And that was to say, listen, you lot, you're not presenting a strong enough opposition yet, so why should we support you? And I think that that is an important message going forward, that to be in opposition to this current regime is going to require a unified and collaborative opposition. In the way, and you brought it up before, I stood for New Labour in 1919, by the way. I was responsible for ousting Phil Goff because he was introducing student fees. But the point was that what happened in the 90s was a strong coalition of a particular perspective. We have that now in government. If we want another government, we have to have an equally strong view of opposition.
Yeah, no, except in the wake of the election result, it's been interesting watching it. Labour were shattered on Saturday night. You could see it on their faces. I'm sure you could too, Ella. And they are reeling a little bit. But it was interesting that I think it was their organiser said, well, listen, if Te Pāti Māori want to work with us, they're going to have to get basically a little more responsible. I think it was Shannon Halbert that said that, who ran Pena Hennare's campaign. Willie Jackson was hardly effusive as to working with Te Pāti Māori meant. Do you think those tensions are going to carry on through from now until the next election day at the end of next year?
I'd like to think that there's enough sense and sensibility across the parties. And I'm not just talking about Labour and Pāti Māori, but also the Greens, because they, in principle, are the opposition bloc. And at this point in time, I'm not seeing anybody leading the charge on cooperation and collaboration, so we can but wait. But I do believe that the Labour Party has to listen to what the voters have said in terms of the Māori electorate here in Tāmaki Makaurau, and I hope that they take that on board. I also hope Pāti Māori take on board that it was a very low turnout, and if there is a low turnout next year, it will be equally catastrophic for them. So, really what I'm urging the opposition parties to do is to let us see what collaboration might look like.
Mm-hmm. Listen, why do Maori vote left? They have never voted, I don't believe, in my lifetime or in yours, Ella. They've never voted Conservative. They voted New Zealand First, but that was, it wasn't a right-wing move.
I mean,
why do they always vote left?
Historically, and I'm in my 70s now, so I'm going back to the 1950s and 60s in the north, but historically in the Maori community, if you were from the farming families, you voted National. And if you were from the factory workers, in my case, my parents worked in the gum fields, you worked Labour. You voted Labour. So we were divided along those kinds of lines of profession, farmers, and you look at some of the well-known Māori who were members of the National Party, Dame Whina Cooper, Sir James Henare, these are very prominent Māori leaders who were National supporters, because in the past, National very much supported the land and farming, and Labour supported workers and unions. So Māori, the majority of us who were workers in factories and in low income jobs, were more likely to look to Labour to support our aspirations, which in the 90s and 50s and 60s were reflected in Māori home ownership and Māori employment, which was very high, Māori imprisonment very low. A lot of these phenomena that you spoke about earlier around ethnicity being an indicator of violence were not as prevalent in the past when we owned homes and we had jobs and we had futures. Unfortunately, the last 40 years have seen rapid changes in the Māori economy, Māori economic situation, and I think that's reflected in a whole range of negative statistics around our people and our community.
But equally, I would have thought there are an enormous number of Maori success stories in the last 30 or 40 years as well. Ella, I'm talking to one. And I'm in sport, in film, in entrepreneurial ability and business. There are a number of Maori success stories, the like of which I haven't seen in my lifetime, and that number continues to grow every year. So do those people not go on the Maori roll? Do they go on the general roll and then vote accordingly?